C'est maintenant le rapport, on peut voir bouger un petit peu. Tout le monde part toucher. La fête complète ici. C'est toujours le partout. Que l'on va offrir aux athlètes de cette première passe du jour. Et on a besoin vraiment de ça. Là-haut, ça va même la voix. Allez, on s'en encore. On y va, ça monte up. Allez. Oui. On vient de faire,
basement party right now in my head.
Welcome back to Le Grand Bornand, France for the finale, the final day of 4 days of BMW IBU World Cup competition at this beautiful venue in Haute-Savoie, the French Alps. It's the women's first of the season, 12.5 kilometer mass start, 30 best athletes based on top 25 in the overall World Cup standings, and the best 5 who don't fit that suit getting in because of their performance here. Including in that group is the United States' Deidre Irwin, the lone American on the start today. As you look at a more wintry Grand Bornand picture, 3 degrees Celsius. It's been 7 degrees consistently all week long. A little bit cooler today. With me, as always, Scott Dixon, the former British biathlete and coach. Scott, what will the cooler temperatures mean to this course and to this competition on this final day?
Well, the tracks are still going to get broken up. It's inevitable once it's plus degrees. That just happens. But because it's in the shade at the moment, there's going to be a little bit more preservation of snow until later on in the race. But the good news is, for the athletes, is that it affects everybody pretty much the same because it's a mass start.
Okay, let's talk a little bit before we get into the personalities and the people we're going to be keeping an eye on and why. Let's talk about the differences. We saw a pursuit competition yesterday, won by Lou Jean-Monod, who will wear bib number 1 in the yellow bib of the World Cup overall leader. She's emerged from we expected better from her in the opening World Cup situation where she might take that yellow bib earlier, but she's finally arrived here at the top of her game at home in France. Meant a lot to her, but what will be the difference between a pursuit start yesterday and the people who do well in this mass start? What's the dynamic differences, or is there one?
There seems to be a filtration. Every time they come into the range, about half of the group will be dropped onto the penalty loop. And it just means that there's this urge to get the targets down and just stay in connection with that front group. Whereas, if you take a look at the pursuit, for example, we saw the likes of Elvira Oberg climbing really, really high up the rankings. And that is as a result of having a little bit less pressure and being able to make that journey without the pressure of being attached to the very front of the field.
So there's top 30 or 30 shooting points, 30 athletes. That's why there are only 30 competitors as they line up for this shotgun mass start. The first one of the season. Last season they had a mass start before they ever had a pursuit competition in Östersund. This year they pushed it all the way out. The first mass start will happen in the 8th event of the season, and you see Suli Minkkinen currently sitting in 4th position. She has no wins in this discipline. In fact, her only win came earlier this year in the sprint competition. And this is the woman of the hour, Lou Jean-Monod, emerging to that yellow bib yesterday after a huge expectation. She's never done well in this venue. She got that monkey off her back yesterday. Scott, how dangerous is she today?
Well, I think that Lou Jean-Monod is the hot favourite for this race, and that's for sure. But Dorothea Vera is in such great form, and just even looking at her in the warm-up section, or the zeroing section of this production, she just looks in great shape. She looks in form. She's completing the motion with her hands or her arms. So I think there's so many top biathletes now who are very much within a chance of winning this race, not least wearing this bib right here, Franziska Preuss.
She won the overall standings last year in this event, so she'll wear it in its debut this year. But she's at the back of the field. She's battled some sickness in 25th place. Can she win from back there, Scott?
Absolutely, she can win. I don't think I wouldn't put my bets on her winning today. It's just possible, as is ever the case in biathlon.
Well, we have many athletes who have succeeded in this event. One of the most interesting is Hanna Oberg. Has struggled in the pursuit competition, has never won a pursuit competition, but she's the world champion in this event in 23. She's got 4 wins. Elvira, her sister, has 5 wins in a world championship title. And Justine Brassard-Boucher, who also struggles in the pursuit, has won this event 5 times, and 2 of them were major championships. A world championship in 24 and the Olympic champion in this event at the last Olympics in Beijing. And Brassard-Boucher has not done much to get excited about this year, but she is in the field. What are her chances?
Well, she's going to ski the fastest today, or thereabouts, I suspect. That has been the case for most of the races. But whether she can get her shooting under control, it remains to be seen, especially with the high atmosphere from the French crowd here today.
Moments away from the start, and the cheers are raucous for the French. They're off and running. The final competition for the women in Annecy Le Grand Bornand 2025. The 3rd stop of this BMW IBU World Cup Biathlon circuit. And it just doesn't get much better than that.
So exciting, and such a great weekend of races that have come before this as well. I think we have so many people who are capable of getting onto the podium, and that's what makes today so special. It's completely unpredictable.
There are, as I said, a lot of world champions, Olympic champions in this event. Julia Simone has 4 wins in this event. Her last was in the 24 season, 2 seasons ago in Antolz, Italy. Hanna Oberg has said world champion in 23. Elvira Oberg, world champion in 25. Last year in Lenzerheide, a spectacular win by her in this event last year. And Brassard-Boucher, who really has not lit it up. She's got 5 wins in the mass start, 2 of them at major championships. And she's actually had a lot of success at this venue comparatively to Lou Jean-Monod, has Brassard-Boucher. But Scott, her shooting performances this year just haven't been competitive.
No, and to miss 4 yesterday, that's a really disappointing result. actually one of the worst shooting results until you go all the way back down to Tannheimer of Germany, who was in 30th place. So before 29 all the way to first, everybody was missing 1s, 2s with the occasional 3, except for Breza Boucher, who was in the top 10 with 4 mistakes.
Heading out to the 1.1 kilometer mark here, the first time check looks like a pretty lackadaisical pace in terms of competitiveness. You see bib 20 there from France, Jean Richard. She actually got relegated down to the IBU Cup after last week in Hochfilzen, but her World Cup overall standing has her in the top 30 comfortably, so she is wearing bib 20 right now, bib 20 for France. Got to get back on the World Cup horse, as so to speak, and is in the field for the French team.
This pace right now is actually really not favouring Jean Monod, and she's the one controlling it. I would say from a strategic point of view, those who are fastest on their feet should actually be trying to push the pace, because the longer they go slower, it gives the opportunity to those who aren't quite at the sharpest end of skiing to either climb up towards the front and therefore get the first round down on the shooting range, or be able to match the ski speed in the second, third, fourth and fifth laps, because they didn't exert too much effort in the first.
So Jean Monod is out relatively slow comparatively. She is actually, what Scott's tipping his hat to is saying that he's faster than the Italian Dorothea Vier, and Vier now moving to the front, but statistically Jean Monod 4.7% faster than the middle of the pack, and she is the only slower than Hannah Oberg, Justine Bressa-Boucher, and Lampic this year. So Scott, very fast skier, and definitely not using her advantage, as you say, early in this race.
I think and yesterday in the pursuit competition, Dorothy Vera's time was 1 minute and 22 seconds back behind Breza-Boucher. So Vera really benefiting from this slower pace.
Bressa-Boucher happy to sit in the 8th spot, wearing bib number 10. She's also sitting in this field, but Annemarie Lampic not in the field, not performing at a level on the shooting range to get herself into that top 25 in the overall standings, nor to do well this weekend. She had a great sprint last year, which got her into this mass start. This mass start was won last season by German Selina Grotjen, who is out and not feeling well. She was performing poorly at the first 2 World Cup stops in Östersund and in Hochfilzen, and she went home to try to recoup and has not felt up to the task. And so the last year's winner in this event will not be on the race on the start order. And in fact, Scott, only 17 of 30 who are in this field last year are in this field. So there's a big turnover in this event.
It's so exciting. Lots of new names, new faces coming up and trying their hand at the very highest level. And it's so cool. It's this constant reshuffling in biathlon. They reshuffle when they get to the shooting range, and we have hits and misses. They reshuffle each year, each trimester, with lots of talent coming up. And it's great to track those names. And one of those names who I'm really looking out for today is Johansson of Norway. I do think that she is capable of having an outsider good performance, and it would be an exceptional thing if she was to achieve it. A podium is possible.
Well, Johansson is actually, for the luck of the draw, got her into this competition. She's wearing bib 30 as the final competitor in that start order, and she only got that start order because she was in reserve when Lisa Vitozzi came up sick today. She is not going to compete. She says she's got a cold. So that opened the door for the Norwegian, the 26-year-old, in her 27th World Cup start, Martha Krokstad Johansson. We'll see what she can do with that opportunity as the field heads towards shooting number 1 of 4. They'll shoot prone, standing. This is a 12.5 kilometer event, 5 times 2.5 kilometer ski loop. Scott looks pretty quick. The tarmac looks nice and solid.
Well, absolutely. Extremely fast snow. And you can see there on the left-hand side, Hannah Oberg getting a little bit boxed in because she had too much speed, which is something that's pretty hard to find in a race scenario. But yeah, it's fast conditions. The track's been well preserved, well kept. And I think that is going to, once again, play into the hands of those who shoot well but don't ski fast.
So the peloton all together in this opening lap, and they'll each shoot on their assigned bib number for the first shooting stage. From there on in, after this shooting stage, they will file in and shoot from point 1 based all the way down to point 30 based on where they are in the standings. There you see the 30 graphics of every competitor out there. I like this new graphic because it allows us to see everybody, where in the past we had to kind of guess at who's hitting and missing further down range.
Well, Passler of Italy doing fantastic. Managed to get 4 away very quickly and 5 down. First to get all 5 targets. We've got Patowska, Fialkova as well. She's got 5 out of 5, shooting very good. But Jean Monod goes clear, as does Magnussen. Öberg as well, and the graphic not distinguishing which Öberg that is, so I do apologize. But one has missed 3, one has gone clear.
It is Hannah Öberg. Elvira Öberg will go to the penalty loop at least once. I believe it was twice for the younger of the 2 Öberg sisters. But Hannah, who has been solid this week with a win in the sprint competition 2 days on Thursday, is now leading after shooting clean in the first stage of this mass start. Followed closely by Benet, Jean Monod third, Magnussen, Halverson, Sweden and France taking the all top 5 spots, with Voigt from Germany, the first non-Swede or French person coming through, shooting 1. Okay, look at her prone shooting, Jean Monod. Solid hits.
We saw the picture of her zeroing prior to this when they're shooting on paper, and all of the bullets just going right in the middle of the target. Her accuracy appears to be unmatched.
So after one shooting stage of 4, 17 of 30 clean through shooting number 1. That has Maya Klutens, the last of the clean shooters, sitting in 17th spot. Julia Simone, the first of it with a miss, 25 seconds back in 18th. She's got Knoten from Norway, Minkinen from Finland, Michelon from France, Sharvatova from Czech Republic, Kirchgeide from Norway, and Irwin from the United States, and Davidova. They all have 1 miss. They take up the spots 18 through 25, and then the double missers, Dorothea Vera, the first of those, and that's surprising, Scott. Dorothea Vera with 2 misses from the first shooting stage. She's 47 seconds back.
No, that's very surprising indeed, but I think she is capable of getting the rest of the targets, and sometimes early misses do relieve the pressure somewhat. But it's a surprise because her accuracy has been there all season. She's done fantastically, and 94% hit rate in the prone. Certainly was not expecting there to be any misses.
So looking at the shooting performances, the fastest shooter on that first shooting stage was a 21.2 second shooting time for Amy Baserga of Switzerland. Hannah Öberg was right behind her at 22 seconds, and she was in and out fast, clean, and that is why she's at the front of the field. That is bid number 6, but still, that whole group of 17 clean shooters pretty much still together. You see Klutens coming off the back there just a little bit, the Belgian.
I wonder if Benet up there at the front, in front of her home crowd, is going to be feeling a little bit of pressure here, perhaps some adrenaline, some excitement. But Jean Monod deciding that the pace just isn't quite sharp enough at the front of the track and getting ahead, but not just getting ahead. Benet decides not to follow the pace, whereas Hannah Öberg does. She's getting right in behind, so too is Halverson of Sweden.
So Jean Monod at 3.5 kilometer mark decides, you know what, it's time to make this a real race. She steps to the front of the field and immediately puts her foot on the gas, and the response is clear as the field starts to string out and come apart.
Well, it's that gap of 22 seconds back to the first athlete who's missed 1 target, that's Sharvatova, and she was 29 seconds back down from the leaders after shooting 1, so they've gained 7 seconds just in terms of ski speed in the very short distance since the range.
So Scott, shooting number 1, we'll just point out that Bryce Boucher, who we talked about her ski prowess and her shooting time from the first shooting stage, was the slowest. She's 39 seconds as opposed to Hannah Öberg, who's 22 seconds. She gave away 17 seconds in the shooting range. She's clean. Wow. But 17 seconds is almost a penalty loop. So that tells you why Bryce Boucher is still not at the front of the field despite being such a fast skier.
Such an interesting point. And also, I mean, yes, it is nearly a penalty loop, but if the targets go down, fantastic, and Bryce Boucher has to focus on that. But it's a shame to think of the times almost as something that could be interchanged. If you're on the mat lying down for 17 seconds, you're resting for 17 seconds. So get the targets, and Bryce Boucher needs that.
Jean Monod leads. She's clean. She's followed closely by Hannah Uber, who led after the first shooting stage by a half a second. She's a half a second out now as Jean Monod takes control of the pace. Then Ella Halverson decides she is willing to chase that pace, as is Anna Magnuson 2 seconds back. And then it starts to spread out. You can see the pace instantly shows up when it's injected into the race, because they start to string out one person at a time.
You can see the coaches running up alongside the track there, holding up the magnet board. That's just indicating where, or showing each athlete respectively where the bullets landed on the target, so they know what adjustments they need to make, if any at all, next time they come into the shooting range. The information from that could be, hey, you need to click free left, or it could be something as simple as you just need to focus and you need to sort out your sight picture, because that was rubbish.
And sometimes those athletes, they might be wondering until they hear otherwise. They might feel like they missed a shot. Is it a zero thing? And the coach has to be honest with them and say, don't take any clicks if there's no sign that you need to. But you can see the accordion effect, the bunching up of the group as they glide off that downhill into the climb into the shooting range. A little bit of an advantage to be at the back. Probably a little bit of a draft happening down that hill.
Certainly is, and you can see that the integrity of the track is still very much there. It's not breaking up much, and where it does, it will be in parts on the deeper parts, the steeper parts of the track, like the hill. But as of yet, the track is incredibly fast, very well preserved by the race organisers.
They've done a great job here. They do it every year. This will be the site of the next Olympic biathlon in 2030. As the Olympics come to the French Alpine region for the first time since 1992. But for now, it is the site of the first mass start of this women's season in biathlon. Chad Salma, Scott Dixon bringing you the action. It is Hannah Uber who lays down first.
And she gets that target down. And so do many around her, but very quick from Halverson of Sweden, who's managed to get 5 out of 5. Fantastic shooting from her. A great start to her race. But 2 mistakes from Hannah Urberg. That's a disaster.
Bryce Aboucher is challenging. Got Becerra, Johansson clean. Your favorite. Voigt is clean. Bryce Aboucher, Jean Monod clean. Richard with 2 misses. And your leader will be Ella Halverson of Sweden. Benet second. Postler third. Becerra fourth. Preuss comes in fifth. Vobornikova in sixth. Seventh, Voigt. Eighth, Bryce Aboucher. 9, Jean Monod. 10, Johansson. The leaderboard is a venerable who's who of no big names.
Well, Preuss managing to just take her controlled style to this race has done very good. Currently up in 5th position, and that's having started with bib 25, so just trickling her way up the order and hitting those targets. And I think that she's taking quite a strategic approach to this race. Just take it calm, methodical, and pace yourself.
Bryce Aboucher, the fastest of that second loop. 2 seconds faster than Davidova, but slowest on the shooting range again at 35.8 seconds. Postler, who's now in the lead pack, leading the range third, 6 seconds back. She had the fastest shooting time, 18.1 seconds from prone. That's blistering quick, but Ella Halverson was just 5 seconds slower in third fastest shooting time on the range and clean. She is your leader.
Halverson had such a fantastic race in the relay in Hochfilzen, where she led the way with an aggressive pace on the skis, really hurting the field, but also managing to maintain that pace throughout.
So Halverson now all by her lonesome at the front and putting time on the rest of the chasers. She is statistically this season, Halverson is skiing 2% faster than the average of the field, which is not terribly fast. She was faster, about the same last year. She's shooting the same statistics as last year, 86% across the board, 89 prone, 84 standing. She's clean on the day, so shooting better than her 89% average. And there's really nobody willing to try to chase her down. She's getting away kind of in a breakaway, like a bike race.
Well, you could actually see there that Jean Monod was a little bit boxed in, unable to make a break even if she wanted to, just because she was surrounded by other athletes. And right behind her was Preuss. And I do wonder if there's a psychological element there going on where Preuss will be looking back, thinking back to the race in in Oslo, Holmenkollen, at the end of last season, where the two battled it out to the very, very end, and now here they are side by side.
Of course, the victor of that event, and there's an unfortunate fall coming into that stadium. If you're a rabid fan, you remember. But Ella Halvorsen now 9.3 seconds ahead of Bryce Boucher, who has moved into the second spot ahead of Jean Minot, her teammate. Preuss in fourth, Voigt from Germany, her teammate, in fifth, and Amy Baserga holding down sixth, 12.6 seconds back, but it is spreading out, Scott.
Well, Breza Boucher, she's had the fastest course time on lap 2, with Davidova of Czechia having the second fastest ski time, but not quite the same success on the shooting. She's all the way down in 30th, having missed 4, so it cost Davidova quite a lot skiing that quickly on lap 2, whereas Breza Boucher seems to be holding it together really well with her first 10 targets all going down.
Ella Halvorsen now taking advantage of the fact that she got about halfway around this loop, just about halfway around this loop before Bryce Boucher and Jean Minot really took up the charge and tried to chase down her lead. She led by 9.3 seconds at 6 kilometers. She's coming up to the 6.5 kilometer mark now, half a kilometer later. And she was being chased by Benet after shooting number 1, but Bryce Boucher and Jean Minot closed down a 9-second gap that she opened up on Benet, a 14-second gap on Benet. Benet clearly not in the fitness to chase down the pace being set by Halvorsen, but look at the two chasing her closest now. Jean Minot in the yellow bib and Bryce Boucher of France. Bryce Boucher is yet to be on a podium this season. Her best finish is a 4th in the 5th race of the season in Hochfilzen in the pursuit, so she's done well. She's been in the top 5, but very inconsistent so far this season.
I really like Preuss's approach right now. I mean, it's very possible that she simply cannot keep with the pace, but I think the approach that I prefer to think is happening right now with Preuss is that she's just not willing to go with it. She could, but she's deciding not to go full pressure right now. She can open that up later on if the targets go down.
And to be fair, Preuss was 11 seconds back. She's made a second on the leader, Halvorsen, so she's not taking the bait of those chasers that are bridging the gap, but she is staying even at least with the leaders, which you're saying is a sound strategy.
And I think you mentioned this already, Breza Boucher. She had the 30th the 30th fastest, which is the slowest shooting speed in both of the plunge visits. 39.1 seconds the first time round, and 35.8 seconds. So what she gains on the track, she loses in the range. That recovery really is just like a net nothing. It doesn't add up to anything. But it adds up to hits so far. So far so good for Breza Boucher. The question is, can she maintain that impressive discipline in the stand shooting?
Well, I love, Scott, your hot take is right there in the center of our picture now. Number 30, who just got that bib last minute for the Norwegian team, the 26-year-old Martha Krokstad Johansen is in the lead group in 10th spot, trailing by 14 seconds on the Ella Halvorsen. Halvorsen will be on shooting point number 1, and she has been caught by Jean Minot and Bryce Boucher. Let's see if that effort by the two French women and Voigt behind her, the German, affects their shooting. All these athletes clean so far as they go into shooting 3 from the standing position.
Now Halvorsen is such a disciplined shooter. With 83% in stand shooting, there's high pressure, and she's deciding to shoot quickly. It's not paid off for the third shot, which doesn't go down. Halvorsen, and 2 mistakes by Breza Boucher. She has returned to something of form in the shooting element of biathlon, and there the 5 targets go down. Jean Minot also getting 5 targets. Pastor goes clear. Benet goes clear, and Johansen of Norway also going clear.
The crowd tells the story as Justine Bryce Boucher has not led a Biathlon World Cup yet this season and goes 15 for 15 to the delight of the crowd. And it's France, France, Italy, France. Almost like a rhythm, almost like a rhyme as they head out onto lap number 4 of 5 in this women's mass start before the New Year's break. The French trying to bring it home in a spectacular fashion, holding down the top 3 of the top 4 spots. Then it's Postler from Italy in the 3rd spot, who is also clean on the day. Postler has never had a World Cup podium finish. In fact, her best finish is 13th. She's sitting in pretty heady position right now, but she's been backing her season up with some great ski performances, has Postler, and she's in position now to take her first podium with a trio of French women around her. Getting a shot of Brisa Boucher's shooting there. This is some good stuff. Scott,
and it was quick shooting as well.
Yeah.
That's a little bit different to how she approached the prone shooting, but prone and stand are completely different. Prone is very methodical, very much about accuracy and bringing the rifle up in the same clinical way. Stand has an element of reaction to it. Of course, you want to enter the target from the same way, you want the process to be the same, but we saw from Brisa Boucher there a little bit more risk in the stand shooting.
Brisa Boucher, not the slowest time this time. She is 22nd, but not giving away a ton of time. Just give away 5 seconds to Ella Halverson in that shooting stage. But Halverson had 2 penalty loops and is suddenly just out of it.
Well, Johansson now, slightly audacious guess as to her form, but it was after having had 20 out of 20 hits in the pursuit competition yesterday, climbing all the way up from 40th position to 15th. So she did really well climbing in that head-to-head bout yesterday, and that's why I inferred she could do it today. But with 35 out of 40, that puts a spotlight on her final 5 shots coming into the range, and she's up at the front and is going to be very well aware of her potential to get on the podium today.
Well, not only that, she is on the course time. She was 10th fastest of the third lap, so she's able to keep the pace. Is Johansson, and I have to say, Scott, that off camera before the race, you picked her as your hot take for the podium, and I got to say, Scott Dixon, you got a good tracker right now. You might want to go buy a lottery ticket if she ends up on the podium, but it's a French affair at the front. There is the Norwegian suit of Johansson in 6th. Benet, Postler, and Johansson are chasing 2 of the best to ever do the sport.
Well, equally, it could be a full French podium if Jean Monod, Brisa Boucher and Benet all have fantastic results. But one who's not going to want to let that stand is Kyrkjeide of Norway. She's fast, she's accurate, and she is one of the best in the world as of this moment right now, standing in 5th place in the overall standings, and she is under 23 years old. So a lot going in the favor of the Norwegian Kyrkjeide, who's on the chase.
Kyrkjeide wearing that blue bib of the under-23 leader of the World Cup Series. There's Michelin, Baserga, Voigt all chasing from 42 seconds back, 42 to 43 seconds back. Hannah Oberg back in the picture there with 3 misses on the day already. And I had her picked as the winner today from my perspective, and just not putting the shots down is Hannah Oberg. 2 misses from the second shooting stage, 1 from the third. And then Halverson with 1 less miss ahead of her.
And we have the 2 fastest currently right up there at the front. Hannah Oberg is also skiing incredibly fast. Had the fastest lap time on course 3, but is down in 16th place now with 3 mistakes in the shooting range.
2 at the front, kind of asking each other, do you want to take the lead? I don't want to take the lead. Do you want to take the lead? They've got a nice gap on this chaser pack, which includes Benet, Postler, and Johansson. Postler and Johansson have no history and probably really no business to expect to be where they are, with a shooting stage and a lap and a half of skiing left. But nonetheless, here they are in this auspicious position to take their first podium finish in World Cup competition. Then it's Voigt and Preuss, the 2 Germans, trying to get back into contention. They're 30 seconds back with 1 shooting stage left. They're going to need misses at the front to have a shot at the podium.
Irwin of USA skiing really, really well. She had the 6th fastest course time, 8.5 down off Hannah Oberg's time. That's only 6 seconds down off Brisa Boucher. So with only having missed 2 so far, Irwin is having a really fantastic day.
Yeah, Irwin's best probably ski performance maybe ever coming in the sprint competition, where she was 10th. And absolutely flexing her muscle on the skis today. She's in a group with Knoten, Vidal, Halverson, and Michelin. But at the front of the field, the 3 less experienced athletes. Benet already has the season of her best season of her career by a stretch. She's got a podium from the first competition of the season. Then she had a 4th in the Östersund Pursuit. That was a second best performance, and 2 6th places to follow that up. And only 34th and 28th so far here in Annecy Le Grand Bornand, but she is making up for that today with clean shooting through 3 stages. Shooting 4 now from the standing position. And all the marbles. Game on the line. Who flinches first?
The crowd is not going to know who to cheer for, with 3 French standing in contention for the podium. The first targets go down with ease.
Oh, first miss by Bryce Boucher, and the crowd reacts. Jean Monod takes a break. She misses 2. Postler's 3 for 3. Postler misses though. Benet is 3 for 3. Benet is 4 for 4. 1 miss for each of the leaders, but Benet will take the lead. And can she hold it for the final 2.5 kilometers? Everybody in the penalty loop so far, except for Camille Benet. It's going to be at least a 20-second lead.
Wow, Tjurkaida also going clear. Preuss now with an opportunity, also going clear. Fantastic shooting from the German with her return to form as Beserga gets 5 for 5. Vidal gets 5 for 5. And Irwin now with an opportunity alongside Halverson, both of whom get 5 out of 5. Some fantastic shooting at this last time of asking on the shooting range.
So Johansson, 24 seconds back, is the 8th person across that time check, but it's Maren Tjurkaida with 14.1 seconds to make up on Camille Benet. Can Benet add another exclamation mark to her maiden full World Cup season, where she is currently sitting in this 8th spot, was sitting as high as 2nd or as high as 3rd after the first stop in the first competition of the season. But Camille Benet goes 20 for 20, the only one in the field to go perfect today, and she takes a 14-second lead with her into the final stage, final loop.
Wow, to do that in front of your home crowd with 2 of the fastest biathletes in the world standing on mats in front of you is quite exceptional. And just the composure to be able to get those shots down with all of that noise in your ears, with all of that noise in your mind, to really hold it together is something special. Benet is now skiing for the race of her life.
Benet, the course time, she was 18th fastest course time in the 4th lap. As you point out, Dieter Irwin actually had the 2nd fastest course time through lap 4. So the Americans clearly feeling her fitness and clean through her 4th shooting stage. The American trying to take home her best mass start finish of her career, sitting in 12th. There's the gap.
And if you take a look, it's going to be a battle for Tjurkaida to prevent France from getting 1, 2, 3 in their home venue, at their home venue, I should say. And it is unfortunate, at least for Tjurkaida, that Jean Monod is right behind her and Bryza Boucher, 2 of the fastest biathletes in the world. So a real battle now for Tjurkaida to make it onto the podium.
We saw an amazing closing of speed in the final loop of the men's pursuit yesterday, in which Dale Shevdal came from 12 seconds back to catch the leaders and finish 2nd, or finish 3rd on the day, 2nd to Emilia Jacquelin. Can the same thing happen today? The gap at the shooting, leaving the shooting range, was 14 seconds. It's half evaporated. Tjurkaida now 8.7 seconds back. Bryza Boucher 9, Jean Monod 9.9 seconds. The gap to the leaders. You have to. There's a couple of calculations here, Scott. Do you close it up, or do you save it for the sprint for 2nd? Right now, it doesn't look like Jean Monod has the legs to stay with the 2 in front of her.
Well, it looks like Tjurkaida has decided, exactly as you said, Chad, she wants to close that gap. She can see it's closing, and she can't stop herself from making the chase. But that is going to cost her. Unless Bryza Boucher goes with her to close that gap, Bryza Boucher is just going to capitalize on the fact that she's had a piggyback ride all the way to the front. And it could be, at this moment right now, Bryza Boucher's race if Tjurkaida gives her a piggyback all the way to the front.
Running scared at the front is Camille Benet, trying to win her first ever Biathlon World Cup in front of a roaring home crowd. And look at the strain on her face.
Wow.
She knows they're closing. She can feel the noose closing on her as the chasers come closer with every step they take. Chirkaida now dropping ever so slightly the pace of Justine Braissard-Boucher. Chirkaida feeling like she's got the power to take it, and she's going to go right past Camille Benet.
Wow. What an attack. Look at that. She is just skipping past Braissard-Boucher, doing everything she can to stay on the heels of Chirkaida, but a gap has opened up at a really pivotal moment as she gets down past the corner as fast and ahead of Braissard-Boucher.
And just like that, Camille Benet's dream of a win on the World Cup is gone and dashed. She is dropped like a bad habit by the three in front, but Chirkaida doing a spectacular job. Now we have to watch the ski performance. How did the technicians do for each of the teams? Because it is going to be a factor in this long gradual downhill. It looks like the French are gaining ever so slightly on Chirkaida, but Chirkaida looks so good at that 180-degree turnaround. It's questionable whether anybody has the finishing touch to take her. Chirkaida leads by just 1.4 seconds at the last time check. She's grown that to maybe 2-3 seconds, but Braissard-Boucher is charging, skating without her poles, not in a tuck, trying to get that gap closed down before the final turn into the stadium. And it is going to be an absolute barn burner finish as Chirkaida takes her speed into the climb. The two French women close in on her, a slight accordion effect. Who's going to get the whole shot? Chirkaida has to guard that shortest line around the corner. She does just that. But Jean Monod has the daylight to get past her, but does she have the power? Chirkaida turning towards home. Will she take the win for Norway? She will. Maren Chirkaida wins her first World Cup ever in Le Grand Bornand and silences the French crowd.
Wow. Well, would you have thought that was possible? What an exceptional last lap from Chirkaida. But also, it almost went unnoticed until this moment now, as Beserga of Switzerland crosses the line in 5th place, Preuss in 6th, Voigt of Germany in 7th, and Knotten of Norway down in 8th, the first with the 2 penalties. But Chirkaida with a big grin on her face, and not surprisingly, after that incredible last lap.
Relying on sheer will and some good fitness and some good skis, Maren Chirkaida taking control of the race with a half a kilometer to go, and the second best skier in the world couldn't match her. Justine Braissard-Boucher settles for 3rd with a 19 for 20 shooting performance, best of her season. And Jean Monod found the kick in the end to get past Braissard-Boucher. Great finish.
Absolutely incredible. And Jean Monod was doing everything she could to find the right line, to find the right positioning. But I think it was Chirkaida's continuous attack up the long straight that did it. She opened up the gap, and Braissard-Boucher allowed those meters to open, and then clawing those back was just a little bit too much of a task. Even though they did connect, when they connected, it was too late.
Well, oftentimes when you have that power, as we see the finish now, the replay of Chirkaida, when you have that power, you can actually take the sprint out of somebody who actually is known to be a good finisher, and it wounds them a little bit. And I think you're right. I think Chirkaida sensed that she was maybe fitter than the 2 French women, and she put it to the test, and it actually absolutely stuck.
Oh, it was such an unbelievable sprint finish. I want to say something profound about the technique or the tactics, but really it was just impressive. She just had so much energy and so much dynamic power over that final hill that Jean Monod really just wasn't able to make a mark. And I did think Jean Monod was going to do it, but Chirkaida absolutely held her line, held her pace, and the technique was absolutely solid up until the very last moment.
Yeah, and that's a good point, Scott, that sometimes the most beautiful, perfect execution doesn't mean the win. And sometimes it's just raw emotion and power and feeling that power. And Chirkaida, like you said, she was coming apart a little bit at the seams with her technique, but she was powerful. That was the thing, and that was the difference. 0.3 of a second between Jean Monod and your winner, Maren Chirkaida, for her first ever World Cup victory. This is going to be a day she'll long remember.
Camille Benet wasn't able to hold it together on the last lap. She was 24.4 seconds slower than Jean Monod. So, although she skied well on every lap preceding it, and was the first among the finishers to hit the perfect 20 out of 20, and in fact, the only to hit 20 out of 20. She was just skiing too slow and wasn't able to rely on the shooting to take her up to the top of the podium, or indeed even onto the podium.
Two happy French women. They didn't get the win, and it would have been absolutely deafening in the stadium had they taken the win, but I think the French crowd still, despite feeling maybe a little dejected at the Norwegian win today, Maren Kyrkjeide flips the tables on the French for the first time in her career and takes the win in spectacular fashion. And these mass start races, everything they're built up to be, and this course seems to lend itself to very tight finishes in these head-to-head competitions.
Wins aren't just wins. There are some wins that are better than others, and that was one of the best. Kyrkjeide there, that isn't just her first win. That was her first taste of what it is like to compete against the very fastest in the world, or second fastest, and the very best biathlete in the world, and beat them both on the last lap in front of their home crowd, and that was a tough ask, and she nailed it.
The only thing I can think is sensational. It was a sensational victory for Maren Kyrkjeide, because you had to believe that she's wearing the blue bib for a reason. She's young. She's not experienced. She's not as experienced as the two French women. You just think, Justine Brassard-Boucher has won this event 5 times in her career, as much as anybody in the active field, and she couldn't do it today with a 19 for 20. That is a massive, massive performance by Maren Kyrkjeide.
I love the team camaraderie there at the end, everybody congratulating each other on their success, and Benet, of course, will be needing some commiserations for a 4th place. But a 4th place, if she was told that at the start of the day, she'd have been delighted.
There's your results. Maren Kyrkjeide with a phenomenal inaugural win of her career. Should point out Francisca Preuss in the red bib came in 6th. That's her best finish of her season. Lou Jean Monod in the yellow bib. All the bibs in the top 6 there. The blue for the U23, the yellow for the World Cup overall leader, and the red bib for last year's World Cup leader. Rebecca Postler with nearly a personal best in 11th spot, and Deidre Irwin with a personal best mass start, 13th. Great weekend for Deidre Irwin. She'll take that into the holiday break and bring a lot of confidence to the second trimester that gets underway in Oberhof in early January. Running through your top 30, Lisa Teresa Hauser. I think we were kind of hoping a little bit more from her after a great performance yesterday in the pursuit, where she won the pursuit time of the day, fastest time on the course during the pursuit. But today comes up with a few too many misses, five misses on the range, and she comes in 29th. Marquette DeVito, the final competitor across the finish line for Czech Republic, in 30th. So the World Cup total score, Jean Monod remains in the lead, but Maren Kyrkjeide moves up into the 2nd spot in the overall standings. And that is a nice move for her. Kyrkjeide obviously will take the red bib now as the winner of the first and only mass start of the season, and get a little extra prize money next time she starts with that red bib on her back.
It's always welcome, a little bit of extra money to help supplement the expensive sport of biathlon.
These athletes now they'll probably watch the men coming up in a little over an hour and a half from now. And these athletes will take a break and then head home for the holidays and the winter break over the New Year's. A much needed break. You can see the fatigue starting to set in on some of the athletes a little more than others. Camille Benet certainly showed she was probably running on fumes at the end of this first trimester. Three and a half straight weeks really of racing, almost nonstop. It's a really big task to put on the body.
Race, travel, and that's why so many have got sick. We have some notable athletes not racing today, and that's from the men and women's field, and that's as a result of the torment on the body from the physical effort, combined with the challenge of traveling and staying away from other athletes and staying away from the general public, carrying all those colds and bugs.
Hannah Uberg tried to mount an attack in an event that she has proven to be very adept at. Her teammate Ella Halverson led for a period, but it was the French women and Norwegian Maren Kyrkjeide, who in the end made the story, wrote the story, and brought home the podium finishes. Lou Jean leaves Annecy Le Grand Bornand with her first ever victory, followed up by a second place, and she'll carry that yellow bib into the new season, the Olympic year of 2026. Olympics closing in less than a month and a half now to the Olympic Games in Italy at the famed Antolds venue. And Maren Kyrkjeide throws her name into the hat for one to watch for Olympic gold.
Jean Richard and Ocean Michelin of France will be looking at Camille Benet thinking, wow, there is going to be some stiff competition to get onto the relay for the French team.
Last competition of the year, first World Cup victory. Let us know what's in your head right now.
I don't know what's going on in my head. I'm just very cool to end before Christmas season like this.
Can you take us to the final loop? You left here, you had Camille in front of you, you fought hard. Opposition from the two top French girls. What were you thinking on your final loop?
First, I was trying to be able to take a podium, and I heard it was Lou Justine behind me, and I was thinking this is going to be hard, but I just have to try. We were getting closer to come. Just that I had to give it a shot, and yeah, it worked this time.
Congratulations, Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Congrats.
Maren Kyrkjeide qui s'impose pour la première fois, effectivement. Elle va fêter très certainement ce Noël 2025 de la plus belle des manières. À 22 ans, l'athlète de Lillehammer qui a donc remporté ce premier succès en Coupe du Monde. Elle était médaillée de bronze tout de même sur les derniers championnats du monde du côté de l'Annecy sur l'exercice.
Absolutely. And many showed themselves actually. Nearly a quarter of the field led the race at some point in today's race, and that's Vera Boucher, Brezna Boucher, Jean Monod, Hannah Öberg, Halverson, Benet, and then finally Kyrkjeide, who didn't lead at all until the very end. Benet, of course, she didn't lead at all until near the very end. And once again, just such an exciting race where so many people have an opportunity to win.
Everybody gets a free shot. It's a mass start race, but you can see it's absolutely a mentality race too. You have to kind of ride some great momentum and some emotional confidence to take the win here. And Maren Kyrkjeide has shown us all that she is now one to watch.
The mass starts are always exciting, but you don't often see it so tight up at the front in a mass start as you did today, where so many biathletes are, well, first of all, within such a short time space, but just visually seeing them all come up that long straight and watching as 15 athletes were all in the same picture at the same time on the last lap. That's rare. That's
Very
super rare. And it's what I love about mass starts. And the Mass Start 60 as well. That's such a cool event that we saw last year at the Junior World Championships. So cool, so exciting, and loads of biathletes who are able to get up to the highest level. For example, who's starting with bib number 46 on, and they get their way up to the front, and all of a sudden you've got more competitors who are in with a chance of winning.
revoit le départ à un instant complètement fou également. Je sais pas s'il y avait un décibelmètre ici, mais ça a vraiment été fou. Vous avez lancé les 30 phrases de la meilleure façon. Merci, quel public incroyable. Bon, ça va? Ça a l'air de vous avoir un peu assis, ouais. Il y en a qui attendent de sauver une sorte de deux courses pour aller chercher un petit rafraîchissement, hein, ouais, très important. Il faut s'hydrater, hein, c'est la règle, hein, c'est le jeu. Voilà, casser la croûte, profiter de nos buvettes. Également, manger une petite tartiflette ou autre, des sandwichs, il y a plein de choses dans les buvettes. Et se refaire une santé parce qu'on n'a effectivement pas fini de vibrer. On va très très vite enchaîner, hein, 14h45, ça va bien très très vite. Enchaîner avec les garçons, donc forcément si vous sortez des tribunes, hop, on fait ces petites courses, mais on revient au plus vite pour vivre le deuxième moment le plus intense. Oui, alors, effectivement, Sophie l'a dit, et on peut saluer les chemises de bûcherons. Vous l'avez peut-être certainement vu, puisqu'ils ont remis un à un, distribué le tifo. Quelle image encore, quelle image, top. Et à la seconde près, tout était bleu, blanc, rouge dans la tribune. Vraiment, grand merci au team Partez, en soutien nos bleus qui sont là, le dispositif Allez les Bleus, nos amis du CNESN, je disais, héritage de Paris 2024, toujours dans la fête et dans l'ambiance. Ils seront pour soutenir toutes les équipes de France. Ça se passe au niveau des ski, tous les sports d'hiver seront représentés et il y aura du monde dans les tribunes de ce dispositif Allez les Bleus. On va continuer comme ça à accompagner tous les athlètes sur tous les terrains possibles grâce à ce magnifique dispositif. Merci Allez les Bleus, merci le team Parfait pour ce nouveau magnifique tifo. On s'est régalé. Quelle image, quelle image.
Ja, vet. Nei. Jeg ser bare i dag også. Tar vi fram bjella som hjelper. Jeg hjelper. Den hører altså. Den hører det. Ikke stort.
Jeg hadde egentlig tenkt å gå en runde på ski rundt i løypa og ferdig med noe.
Trenger ikke det, vi er jo her.
Ja, men det var egentlig bare for å ta video av publikum.
Allez, c'est un petit peu plus long, je pense qu'on célèbre déjà, on prend le temps, parce que c'est un moment quand même assez particulier, un moment historique. Ici, on n'est pas passé très loin, nos deux commentateurs nous l'ont dit, nous ont fait croire, on n'est pas passé très loin du triplé français. Il est là le triplé français, mais juste une petite marche, il a manqué une petite marche. Attends. Je sais que, évidemment, vous allez assister fortement, vous allez...
Ladies, let's go. We need to go, yeah.
Ladies, please. Cérémonie, là c'est sûr. Mesdames et messieurs, la cérémonie protocolaire de la Coupe du Monde de Biathlon, BMW IBU Annecy le Grand Bornand, Mass Start Dame, va démarrer dans quelques instants.
Ladies and gentlemen, the award ceremony for the BMW IBU World Cup in Annecy le Grand Bornand, Mass Start Agreement, will start soon.
Plus minus 1 hour. I'm ready. You okay?
Well, the tone of the IBU anthem signals the end of the women's competition at this third stop of the BMW IBU World Cup Biathlon in Annecy, Le Grand Bornand, and what a treat that was in terms of an exciting finish to a women's mass start, the first of the year. See, Ekaterina Dafovska, the 1998 individual. I believe she was an Olympic silver medalist, if I'm not mistaken. And she's a member of the IBU Executive Board. And then a couple of the organizing committee folks here in France getting to hand out the awards. Two French women on the podium, and that's going to light up the crowd as Justine Brassard-Boucher takes her first podium of the season in third place, and a wonderful part of a wonderful tale that she helped build out there today. And that adds to a laundry list of podium finishes. 29th podium of her career today in third spot is Justine Brassard-Boucher, the reigning Olympic champion in this event. And this should boost her confidence going into the Olympic Games in Milan Cortina. It's not the top rung of the podium, but is in the top rung of the hearts of the French fans and faithful. The yellow bib, Lou Jean-Monod, starting to get consistent now. 3 podiums in 3 straight competitions here in Le Grand Bornand, after coming here with 0 podiums in her career in this venue. And this has been a big change and a step in the right direction in Lou Jean-Monod's relationship with her home World Cup spot in France. And she is now a 3-time podium, 1-time winner in this hallowed venue of biathlon for France. Her bronze medal at the World Championships in Lenzerheide last year, perhaps a foreshadowing to what discipline Maren Tjirkaita might win her first World Cup in, and it was a mass start today. A mass start for the ages, a one that we won't soon forget, in a knockdown, drag-out fight in the final lap. Tjirkaita leaves the shooting range and drives home to the finish to overtake the 3 French women for the victory in Le Grand Bornand. Your top 3: Maren Tjirkaita of Norway, Lou Jean-Monod of France, and Justine Brassard-Boucher. And the top 6, fourth place. She made the race what it was, really, until she just couldn't hang on anymore. But Camille Benet has to be happy with the season she is putting together so far. This is her 5th time to the flower ceremony this season. And Amy Baserga starting to get comfortable receiving flowers as well. And a bright spot for Germany and the last year overall World Cup winner, Franziska Preuss, back in the flower ceremony, and it's nice to see her there. Scott, your thoughts?
Oh, it's just nice to see such a nice moment there between Jean-Monod and Preuss. They had a hug, and there's obviously a good friendship, a good bond between them, despite the competitive nature of last season and the competitive nature of sport, but they still are friends, and very much demonstrated there by their affectionate support of one another's results.
Yeah, that fall in Oslo you're alluding to in the last race of last season, in which Preuss took the overall crystal globe from Jean-Monod, might actually have brought them closer together than anything else might have otherwise. But so it's nice to see. But There is your podium, and it is a Maren Kyrkjaidet win for Norway, and that will close out things for the women in Annecy Le Grand Bornand. We'll be back in just about an hour and a half's time, 2:45 in the afternoon Central European time, 8:45 in the morning on Sunday, East Coast of North America, with the men's mass start, 15 kilometer. We'll see you then.
À nouveau, moment incroyable, 3 Françaises sur le site pour cette cérémonie des fleurs.